Hi, I'm Blue Jay President Paul Godfrey, and I'm up front on OTRs.
Off the Record with Michael Landsberg is brought to you by the Keg Steakhouse and Bar. For great steaks, good friends, see you tonight.
I am not going to comment on the story. I'm not going to comment at this point. That's just it. I'm not going to comment on the story.
And OTR can confirm Troy Glaus will not be commenting on the situation. Up front, the Blue Jays president and CEO Paul Godfrey. Glaus has gone home for the season. I'm sure you miss his bat, but I bet you don't miss his baggage right now.
Well, I don't think it's a question of missing his baggage. We miss Troy Glaus. Troy Glaus is a vital part of this team.
Is that not a big headache for you, though, when that came out?
Well, no, you know what? We realize that there's going to be accusations, and I say accusations because nothing's been proven about Troy or many of the others, and we have to wait and see before we really comment on that.
There's no easy way to deal with his alleged steroid delivery, I think you would say, but he wasn't a J at the time. But let me ask you this. Your sport has a huge issue of trust with its fans. Don't you think that he or JP or you have to address it?
Well, we will address it once there's some proven allegations on that. But until the allegations are just what they are, allegations.
So have you gone to
substance, and even then, it was from an unnamed source. You know, unnamed source, allegations, anyone can accuse you of sexual harassment, but that doesn't mean you did it.
Right, but you know what? If it's printed in the paper that I sexually harassed someone and I'd never met that woman before, I'm going to come out and say it wasn't me. Troy Glaus, by not denying it to a lot of people, is admitting it.
But I don't buy that. In fact, the fact is that some people, in fact, the majority of people will probably believe that. But there is always circumstances surrounding each and every case, and I think you've got to give the player the benefit of the doubt until the things are absolutely proven.
See, here's what doesn't work well for him, because other guys on that list, Rick Ankiel has said, yeah, I got those deliveries. Rodney Harrison in the NFL admitted that he got those deliveries as well.
But Rick Ankiel didn't admit that until he went in front of Major League Baseball. Troy Glaus hasn't had his day there yet. And give him a chance to have his day there. Let's find out what he'll say when he's in front of Major League Baseball. Then we can have the discussion.
What do you think, though, of the difference between baseball and football? When Rodney Harrison has his name mentioned, Goodell goes to him and says, hey, is it true? If it's true, you better come clean and I'll suspend you and we'll move on. Whereas Bud Selig can't even get an audience with Troy Glaus if he wants it.
Well, he can get an audience from Troy Glaus. In fact, he is going to get an audience with Troy Glaus. Major League Baseball's already were very, very quick in asking Troy Glaus to meet with him.
But Rodney Harrison already got suspended.
But hold on a second. But in fairness, Rob Manfred is going to interview Troy Glaus and get all the facts related to that. I am sure that Troy Glaus...
Manfred is who? Just to clarify.
Manfred is the head lawyer for MLB. He's the head of all...
and when is that meeting going to take place, roughly?
Well, I have really no idea yet because Troy Glaus just had an operation on his foot. And I'm sure once he's able to get to New York, he's going to have that. It'll probably be fairly quickly.
So you guys have a ton of injuries for sure. Without question. I can't sit here and say you're 2 games over 500. Someone's got to be fired because mistakes were made. But when you look back at the season, even with all the injuries, do you call it a failure?
No, I call it a disappointing year. I can't call it a failure because I think we've got the talent there to produce winning baseball. Winning baseball may not necessarily be the World Series, but a competitive team deep into September. And I think once you see these guys all healthy going into September, having played most of the year without injuries, and you're always going to have some injuries, then I'll be able to conclude whether it's a failure or not.
JP's been your general manager for almost 6 years. It'll be 6 years in November. Are you still confident that he's the right guy for that position?
I'm still confident JP is the right guy. I have total confidence in JP's leadership.
All right, on that note, we'll take a break. And you're a good sport, so you'll sit right there. We'll bring in the panel, and maybe they can attack you as well.
Absolutely.
You're good with that, Paul?
I hope so.
The challenge is there, and the panel's up next. And later, newlywed Eric Stahl joins us for next question. He'll tell us who gave him the most grief after his stag went awry.
Off the Record with Michael Landsberg, brought to you by the Keg Steakhouse and Bar. For great steaks, good friends. See you tonight.
Thanks for joining us today.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
To be standing here today talking to you about it is a bit of a surprise, but it's pretty cool.
Thanks so very much for doing this.
Thanks a lot, man.
Awesome guest. Thanks very much. Continued success.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Now, the question is, what do all those guys have in common? They all did OTR. What do the Blue Jays as a team and a coaching staff all have in common? They never do OTR.
Because I'm on so often.
Oh, really? So you're the spokesman?
I'm the spokesman for the team.
So Frank Thomas once said, Paul, you know what? Why don't you talk for me? Go on OTR. Make me proud.
Well, he's never exactly said that. You've never asked Frank Thomas.
We've asked for everyone. Nice to see you. We're glad that you're here.
I'm delighted to be here.
Dr. Dave Harper, you're here, and I hold your book, The World's Best Kept Health Secret Revealed.
Yes.
People should stick around for the end of this block of TV because they're going to find out.
Absolutely.
Welcome to the show, John Horn, Vancouver radio personality from Team 1040. I'm a big fan of yours.
Thanks for having me.
Big fan of this guy, Michael Holinka. Welcome back, CBC radio reporter. You're good to go, right?
I'm ready to go, Michael.
I will admit we had fun at Troy Gloss's expense, suggesting that he should consider the use of a post office box and an alias. I came clean and said I had my alternative adult magazines delivered to a P.O. box in the name of Darren Detition. Gloss, it's alleged, had steroids delivered to his house in 0304 when he was an angel. He wouldn't comment, and when JP spoke with him, he told us it was none of our business. Is it our business?
At this point in time, I'd say no, because it's a conversation between an athlete and his staff. And as far as I'm concerned, it wasn't something that was done out in the middle of the public view. And until it gets out into that view, until we know what's going on, it was 03. Let's wait until it gets out into that type of media and go from there.
I agree. Like, I don't think you can sort of say that, you know, Troy Gloss has done anything until it's actually come out officially.
Exactly.
It's just a conversation that he's having with his general manager. And,
no, so no,
but you have a second. I've never been on a show with so many intelligent guys before. And I want to tell you, Michael, you obviously didn't set this up purposely.
No, we never set it up.
But
seriously,
the fact is, the Sports Illustrated story quoted an unnamed source on an allegation, never been proven, never named the source. Everybody is trying to convict.
Those guys have been right on others, though.
The media is trying to convict Troy Gloss without even an explanation.
Well, no, that's not true.
Hold on a second.
That's not true.
No, but
it's not true.
That is true.
No, it's not true. They're not trying to convict him. They want him to make a statement.
Now, look.
If he wants, they want him to make a statement. That's not convicting.
The fact is, Troy Gloss was advised by by his Players Association and his agent that he will have to appear in front of Major League Baseball.
Yes.
And that was the time in order to talk to Major League Baseball.
He doesn't have to do that. That's his choice. The people want
he does have to. He will have to appear.
No, but this is a choice he's making not to speak. The question we asked is, should Ricciardi have divulged that private conversation? Of course not. Should Gloss be a stand-up guy and tell the truth? Of course he should.
Of course he should tell the truth.
Well, that's it.
All the players should tell the truth.
But he
doesn't have to do that to the media.
Of course he doesn't have to, but he should do it. There's a lot of things you don't have to do.
But the media at this time have convicted him.
They haven't convicted him. What they've said is...
Well, I got to tell you, you haven't read all the stories like I've read.
I have read the stories. Essentially, though,
people are blaming Troy Gloss. Why is he quiet about this? Obviously,
that's not blaming. They're asking a question.
Why is he quiet about this?
He obviously has things to hide.
There you go.
That's the thing.
That is the conclusion that people draw when you say, I won't talk about it. And that's
but also, is that fair? If somebody accuses you of sexual harassment...
Didn't you accuse me of that in the last blog?
I did. You didn't answer it.
Michael, you should have
I did answer it. I did answer it. I said that if you accused me of something, I would deny it. And by not denying it, I would know that people would draw certain conclusions.
Here's the biggest problem with baseball, though, is that every single time a baseball player gets associated with HGH or steroids, they're being convicted just because of the problems that baseball has had with steroids. Like, I mean, as soon as you mention any name, whether it's Rick Ankiel or Troy Gloss or whoever, Jose Canseco at the time comes out and tells everybody, look, here's who's been doing steroids, here who hasn't. It's basically players are now being linked to steroids just because of who they are.
And Jose Canseco at the time. And subsequent to all of his accusations, we have found out that most of his accusations have been proven correct.
But wait a second. You can go up and down the Blue Jays lineup, and I've never heard Vernon Wells being linked, or Alex Rios, or John McDonald, because there's no evidence. There's no reason to. So, let's just be careful about what we're saying. Yeah, well, you can speculate on basically any baseball player. I mean, for years now, Roger Clemens has been rumored to be, whatever, and you can say that about a lot of players in baseball, but you can't actually come out and say for sure that, hey, they did it, unless they actually admit it.
But you see, I agree with you. The fact is that an allegation is so easy to make against anyone. And the minute an allegation is made, it gets front page or news of the sports section at least. And then it starts the buzz. And I used to be part of the media. I'm as guilty about it as anybody else is because I allowed that to appear in the Sun when I was the publisher of the Sun. But the fact is, that's what the media does. And what happens? It damages certain careers unfairly.
And they're just looking for a soundbite. They're looking for some type of press to say, hey, look, we got to get something going for today. Let's
Fans want to know that. Fans are legitimately curious about this issue.
What do you think of the difference between the NFL and Major League Baseball? Goodell versus Selig. Does baseball need to, in your minds, learn a lesson with how stern you should be with guys who are sinners?
Well, there's no doubt that Roger Goodell is a very tough leader. And you know what? I am not surprised. I've known him since he was 32 years old and almost a rookie in the NFL offices. And he was dubbed as a potential
Does baseball need to learn? I'm not talking specifically with Troy Glaus.
You know what?
General.
Let me tell you something. Bud Selig is not the same type as Roger Goodell. Personalities are totally different. Bud Selig cares about the game, and a lot of people do not realize that Bud Selig has wanted drug testing for many, many years.
And Paul,
but it wasn't news until this whole thing exploded.
And you're probably not in the position to say this, but there's a fundamental difference between the unions and the power of the unions. And I'm pretty sure that you don't want to...
No, there is.
Okay.
I don't know. You're 100% right. I don't mind saying.
Okay, fair enough.
Major League Baseball union is stronger, but also the Congress in the U.S. has come down on Major League Baseball way harder than they've come down on the NFL, the NHL, or the NBA. Without doubt.
Yeah, fair enough. That's true.
And on that note, as we're going to break, we have the opportunity to find out the world's best-kept health secret is going to be revealed, and it is.
Maintaining a healthy nervous system, Michael. You have to maintain a healthy nervous system because the nervous system controls everything. It controls every organ, gland, and muscle, and the spine interferes with it. Maintain a healthy spine, maintain a healthy nervous system, and you will be healthy.
MosaicWellness.com is the website. I have the book in my hands. Thanks for that tip.
Thank you very much.
As we go to break, let me ask you this question. Who doesn't want to be on OTR? And if you answered Mike Vanderjet or Colin Campbell or the entire Jays team, you'd be right on. But if you were the majority and would love to sit on this set, go to tsn.ca/faceoff. All you have to do is answer this question for your chance to appear. Do you think Canada needs another professional hockey franchise? And later, the Hurricanes' Eric Stahl joins us for next question. Remember his stag? We'll find out if he does and who gave him the most grief over the way it ended.
That hit him right in the hand. He is in some pain.
Shoulders are difficult.
Okay, what is it now? He'll limp on to third. Man, it has been a problem that has recurred all season long.
That ambulance, unfortunately, knows its way to the Rogers Center. Jay's injuries have been a factor for sure, but in pro sports, it's not about reasons or excuses. It's about winning. Winning is everything. Given that, do you respect a guy who does, quote-unquote, anything to win? Bill Belichick, for instance, cheated, broke the rule, but has 3 Super Bowl rings. Did you lose respect for him?
Well, you know, I didn't lose respect for him because I honestly believe that he just got caught. I think a lot of the other teams do the same thing, and I think it's been running that way for a number of years in the NFL.
I actually have lost some respect for him because winning 3 Super Bowls, I thought this guy was above the law. I thought he was just like perfect in terms of his way of coaching. Now we realize that he's actually probably cheated his way to 3 rings. Those rings should be taken away.
You know what?
Come on.
And he may have.
The guy from the Tour de France.
By right, you know what? I should lose respect for him too because he did cheat. But at the same time, I can't help but not believe
what did he
that
do?
others
I'll
have
give
done
you
the
that,
same
Paul.
thing.
I'll give you that. It's rampant through the league, no doubt about it.
And that's the only reason why I say that. I think that it goes on much deeper than that, and I think the commissioner has done the right thing, and by trying to stamp it out now and making an example of Belichick and centering a coach that's won 3 rings and say, look, if he's going to be punished, so is everybody else. Give a kudo to the commissioner.
If you look at the rings to me, though, I mean, they'd be as much suspect as an athlete on the Tour de France.
There's a lot of guys like you, Dave, who are saying exactly that, who played, who said, you know what, we played against them in the AFC final in 2002, and they knew what plays we were going to run.
Exactly.
There's a lot of guys revisiting history.
If you look at the Patriots, though, after they got busted for this thing, you look at the Patriots and how well they played against San Diego the week after, it almost looks like they didn't even need to do it. I mean, now that they've got busted, unless they have a database,
that's true. But they got on file.
Now that they've got busted, though, the week after they get busted,